Hello, my lovelies. Begin to settle into the space where you are right now. And today we're going to connect with a nidra that brings to mind birds. Tiny little birdies, bird song, whatever way you connect with them. And as always, visualizations might not come to mind, or maybe they do. Maybe you have a sense of color or movement. The lightness of feathers upon the air, the gentle walking on easy feet. Maybe your birds are tall and strong, or round. Maybe they live in the cold like a penguin, or run across the West Texas desert like a roadrunner. Whatever comes to mind for you, whether it's a sense of movement or sound, the singing or the chirping, just notice what arises in your heart. Maybe you connect with the eagle eye of a hawk soaring high above, the brilliance of a parrot or a galah, or the cheekiness of a parakeet or a cockatoo. Again, just noticing how you relate in this moment. There isn't a wrong way to connect to our inner experience. It just is. And so as you bring to mind this idea of whatever birds resonate with you, whatever colors or shapes or textures or movement resonates with your heart, I want to invite you to settle into the space where you are. And maybe there's a heaviness, or maybe you feel the lightness of clothing against the skin. Maybe just this idea of birds, songbirds or tiny little parakeets. Even North American birds like the cardinal, the bluebird, the blue jay, or in Texas, mockingbirds, with all their beautiful songs. Notice what this has brought up in you. Notice the emotions and the sensations that are present for you. If there's a smile or merriment, maybe there's a deep connection. The wisdom of an owl, or the energy and vibrance of a hummingbird buzzing through the night. The intelligence of a crow. Just noticing your experience. Maybe you become aware of your emotions in this moment. No right or wrong. Just embracing what is. And noticing your breath. As easily and gently as the wind through the trees. Perhaps a feather upon it floating in the air. Inviting a gentleness to the breath in this moment. As we begin to travel through the body, there's not a wrong or right way to do this. So maybe you imagine feathers or tiny little footprints. Maybe the birds themselves are at each point on the body. And maybe you don't just pick one. Maybe you have a whole array of colors and texture. Big and small, fast or round, like emus running through a field, dancing and darting alongside the cars but never coming close. Or even the roadrunner I mentioned earlier, scuttling across the desert. Just connecting with your experience as we move through the body. And if sound comes to mind, again, chirping or singing or even a little bit of clucking, just being curious about what arises. Beginning on the right hand thumb. The left thumb, the right pointer, and the left pointer. The right middle finger and the left middle finger. The right ring finger and the left. The right pinky and the left pinky. Along the sides of the hands, the heels of the palms themselves, and all the lines and textures within. Up through both wrists and forearms. Elbows and upper arms. The shoulders and the collarbones and the space between the collarbones. Up along the front of the neck to the jaw and the tip of the chin. Both ears and the skin beneath the ears, tracing a little pathway across the cheeks, the nostrils. The tip of the nose, the bridge of the nose, and the space between the eyebrows. The inside of the mouth, the eyes and eyelids, all the way up to the eyebrows. And the space between the eyes, the back of the eyes as they connect with the brain. Maybe even reaching down to the back of the throat and the inside of the nostrils. And then bringing your awareness back to the forehead. The top of the head, the crown of the head. As though any hair that may be present, either on the head or the face, is adorning and like the feathers upon the birds. Noticing the back of the head down through the back of the neck. The nape of the neck, the top of the shoulders. Down through the shoulder blades and the point between the shoulders. The mid-back and the lower back. Around the sides of the waist, up along the sides of the chest, across the rib cage, to that spot right in the center of the breastbone. As though it is your heart center you are connecting with, and imagine it could be filled with birdsong in this moment, the sweetest sound you can imagine. Maybe color, maybe texture, maybe just sensation is present here. Feeling the lightness of them. As though you could float away or fly on the wind. Disappearing above the clouds. And then connecting back with your heart in this moment. Moving down through the solar plexus and the belly button. The abdomen, both hips. The base of the pelvic bowl, the thighs and hamstrings. The knees, the shins and the calves. The ankles and the heels, the outer edges of the feet and the inner arches, the soles of the feet, the base of the toes, both big toes and second toes, third toes, fourth toes, and fifth. And then feeling all the way through your skeletal structure, from the toes up through the legs, the pelvic girdle up through the spine, the rib cage wrapping around, protecting your organs. Down along the arms and each little tiny finger bone. And then back up where the spine holds the head up high. And all through the skull and the jaw. And take a breath. Feeling into your wholeness in this moment. Feeling into the delicateness of the bones themselves. How they weave together and dance to create movement. Sometimes graceful, sometimes not so much. But your experience, the way you wander through the world, is true and right for you as the birds upon the sky, flying. Or maybe the penguins upon the ice, making their way across. Again, whatever speaks to your heart in this moment. And imagine that the winds could brush along from the top of the head all the way down the back, sweeping and clearing and releasing anything that doesn't serve you in this moment, lightening burdens or strife. And once more, the wind sweeps from the top of the head all the way across the front of the body, releasing pain and tension, fear. Anything that makes you feel small in this moment. And then imagining that down along your arms, you could almost reach out your wingspan. Feeling your power, feeling your wholeness in this moment. Even the wings contract when they expand, when they reach out, there is a sense of divinity. There's a sense of magic. It's feeling into your spark of magic right now. Maybe you feel that on the tips of the fingers, on the tips of the toes. Maybe you feel that at your heart center, at your core. And notice what lightens you. What would help you to float away in this moment. Just being curious about what arises as you bring this idea to mind. And maybe there are things you aren't quite ready to let go of, and that's okay too. Remember, this is your practice. There is no right or wrong. But maybe as you think of this, a song comes to mind, a sweet tune or a sound, unique to you, as though you are the songbird. Your heart speaking. This melody, so sweet, so timeless. Just connecting in this moment to your experience. As though you could quiet down, listen to that inner voice. And the runes on Suze is that voice of the goddess. In Christianity, they talk about the still small voice inside. And so many traditions speak to that inner knowing. But we have to get quiet to listen. So take a moment right now. Listening to your little songbird. And breathe in and sigh so deeply you could imagine yourself floating on the wind. In our dreams, sometimes we travel so light, as though you could skip and hop across the sky from one point to the next. Some will say this is lucid dreaming or astral projection. Or maybe it's a journey. Or maybe it's you connecting with that sense of flight within. That sense of possibility. Being limitless. Able to reach up to the top of the trees to high mountains. Humans, we have to traverse them with so much effort, and the birds just float with ease. So what could lift you up? Not just what can you let go of, but what can inspire you to fly? A sense of lightness. Just notice what comes to mind, what arises in your heart. breath in fully and release. And beginning to notice the landscape of the body. Let's say you brought images to mind. Being curious about the flock of birds that has arisen. Blue jays, cardinals, mockingbirds, woodpeckers, owls, hawks and ostriches, hummingbirds, roadrunners, little chickens and penguins. As though we could look on them lovingly. And maybe they begin to sing together. And somehow it works. Somehow the symphony of sound is perfect just for you. So breathing into this resonance, breathing into this experience. And invite a sense of joy, a sense of delight in this moment, as though bliss is your given right. Something that cannot be taken away from you. And let this permeate every bit of your being. Knowing you can come back here at any time. This lives within you. You could take flight at a moment's notice, soaring through the sky, connecting with the stars, or loved ones who are far away. Just a hop, skip, and a flip. Just noticing. We're going to begin to bring our awareness back to this moment, back to the space in which you are lying or sitting right now. Noticing the space that you're taking up. Just right. Perfect for you. How you connect with the room around you or the environment where you're laying. The feeling of the air against your skin. Almost imagining it can lift you up. Noticing the sounds around you. And maybe the sounds externally dance with those internal sounds that were arising and woken up. Feeling into your fingers and your toes. Wiggling and movement. And in any way that feels nice, beginning to stretch and wake up to this moment. Letting the eyes be last. Feeling into the rhythm of your breath. And when you're ready, in your own sacred time, let the eyes float open, blending the inner world and the outer world. And so it is. This Nidra is complete. Take care, y'all.